think we're live. It didn't give me any countdown or anything, but we'll wait till we see some people joining us. But it says that we're live, so I'm going to go ahead and welcome all of you to another live stream of the Bow Wow Bill page. And yeah, let me know if you can see it there, Michael. We have Michael. You can't see it yet?
No.
Let me see here. I'm going to come and I'm going to see if it's, and if you see this, let me know down in the comments below. We're having some technical.
Oh, yes, we are live now. This is the proof.
Okay, great. So you guys hit that share button. If you're watching this, I'm going to go to Bow Wow Bill page right now and make sure I share this. On the left, we have Michael. In the middle, we have Bernard. And on the right, we have Bart. And Michael and Bart joined me earlier. We've had actually a couple live streams that we've done where we talked a little bit about their product. But who is this guy in the middle that we're talking to? The what?
The most important guy.
The most important guy.
Bernard Inginer. Bernard
Hello, I'm the engineer of Martin System, and
Inginer.
and I'm developing all the product of Martin System. So we have the finger cake micro trainers, our new chameleon tree, chameleon double, the CTTs, and so on. Was all made here by ourselves.
And some new products coming up too.
Well, because Michael and I always get a lot of credit, we should like to give Bernard a little bit credit, you know what I mean? And a little bit more than just a little bit.
Yes.
So,
well, and we're going to be taking questions here. So if anybody's watching this live, first off, share this right now. Hit that share button. Let's get this spread out as far and wide as possible. I know a lot of people wanted to join this live, but we wanted to talk about, you know, what's unique about Martin Systems products and why I'm such a raving fan of them, but also why and how they're going to benefit dogs. And that's ultimately the question here. Is you know, why is this product something that people need to be aware of, and some of the features that Martin Systems offer that aren't offered by any products anywhere else in the world.
So the thing, it's from the start of the company 20 years ago with Charles Martin, that was the old owner of the company. They always start with the what we call SSC, that was the constant feeling of the stimulation, and that's made our reliable stimulation on the e-collar. So that means that if your dog has the skin wet, he will feel exactly the same that when the skin is dry. So it's the first thing that we made here in Martin System with our product.
And you have to understand, Charles Martin was a maniac about being unique and being the best.
Okay.
He wasn't so interested in business and selling and making money. That's not so much his business, but he always liked being on the cutting edge, developing new things, being innovative, and being unique. Yeah. So that's the history of the company is that.
Well, we were talking about earlier too about the Flemish being up north where you guys are working and the work ethic, and I think that translates to his attitude when he started this company. Am I correct?
Well, yes and no, because Charles Martin was certainly a worker, a hard worker, a very intelligent guy, and in hobby time he was a hunter with pointing dogs and hunting birds, fox.
So he was looking for real world results because he actually used his dogs as working breeds that helped him maintain a goal. And
birds. Yes. He was a bird hunter also.
He was interested to have a very competitive product on the technical side, but not always on the business side, perhaps at start. So we had it's why he put a lot of technology inside, and to try to have a big success with the product.
Well, I'm going to put you guys on solo here, and we got our first question live. Harshit Rashtapal asks, what are the advantages of Martin systems? And that's a pretty broad question, I know, but what are some of the advantages of Martin systems?
Well, I will try to take the lead here. Martin Systems was the first on market to go to another frequency. Because you must understand that when Charles Martin started the company, this, for example, your watch, Bill, this is a Tritronic color receiver, which was huge, with a huge antenna.
Yes.
And this was the Tritronic transmitter.
Mm-hmm.
This is about 25, 30 years ago. So this is the world where we came from. And now Bernard can take over to new frequencies and so on and so on.
So we switched our frequency, I think 15 years ago, to a high gas frequency to have small antenna. So if we can take our PT3000 that have 3 kilometers of range, and we have a very small antenna on the remote.
Okay.
It is used, for example, with this collar, but it's the micro trainers with no antenna outside, like other, but it's a very, very small collar. And I think it's still the smallest that have some kind of range on the market.
Which has good range, good battery life, and high functionality.
Okay.
What people must understand about small is most PCBs from other companies is like this. It's like our PCB, the old style. It's quite big. So that's why you need a big housing around that to make it fit in. That means that Bernard did design with other engineers a much smaller PCB, much smaller, with much smaller transfer, and now Bernard can take over.
So the important thing is to see it's the difference of transformer.
Yeah, hold it up just a little bit higher if you don't. Right there, perfect. Beautiful.
There you can see on this side this very small transformer compared to this one.
Okay.
So we can have a very, very small product like the Chameleon 2 or like the Chameleon 3, like that is very flat.
Yeah. Perfect.
You're not sacrificing anything because there are some receivers that are very small, but they don't run like our micro.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very long battery life once it's charged. It's a very long range. Then the consistent reliable stim, which is the SSC patent, that continuously makes the dog feel the same sensation, whatever the impedance of the outer world makes to the skin of the dog. Moisture, water, rain, so that it's impossible by accident to have a overstim because you don't know. It's like...
But Bernard, you were talking to me about just in your daily life, there's a lot of resistance that can happen when you're, which I didn't think of it. I was thinking of it, if it's swimming or not swimming, but it's not. It's
if we have wet grass and your dogs go to run on the wet grass, when you come back, you will be totally wet. So it's enough to have a wet skin of your dogs. It's necessary swimming in a river or in the lake or something like that.
So what Bernard means is running in long grass in the morning that is a little bit humid can be enough to make the fur and the skin of the dog totally wet, right? so that the impedance could change, you know.
And high humidity too. Now, what happens when it gets wet? I mean, on a typical collar, is it just like spike up, or does the stim change, or what?
So the stimulation is increased by 3, 4, 5. It's depending the color, but so
because of the conductive nature of water, right? It just kind of
the skin is well conductive when it's wet, and then when it's dry. So it's only that.
Well, for Michael and me, and for the whole company, the SSC is the strongest patent that we have in the advantage of the animal. So we were amazed to see that strong pro-animal welfare, technical support was not taken over by other brands, in despite of the fact that we are ready to share it with them. Of course, we call it a commercial deal.
And of course, that's why people who change to Martin system realize, I mean, there's other things too, the contacts, the feathers, but they say, wow, I really notice a difference.
It's like you have a car with the spur differential. That means that you go too fast in a curve and your tires are slipping. With the modern cars, with the spur differential, the tire that has grip takes over the grip to compensate and to keep your car on the road. It has been done automatically that non-rally drivers like you and we can stay on the road. It's in the advantage of what we call the Joe Public. The SSC is an advantage for the user so that you don't have to keep your hand like this on your transmitter and continuously rotate to find the right stimulation levels, what you must do with some brands, which is okay for the guys that know how to do. But for Joe Bob, it's not okay. Joe Bob cannot do that, so it must be done automatically for her or for him.
That's right.
You notice it. And if you are used to it, you can't live without it.
Well, there's certain advantages that I have found as a professional, and Valerie just commented here as well. And what really sold me, so what Valerie says is the reliable contact. Oh, Valerie. Hey, how would you say this lady's name, Bernard?
Hello, Valerie.
Valerie. So the reliable contact, reliable non-variable stim, and proper contact indicator LEDs sold me on the value. You know, and just like I'm Joe Bob. That's what she just says. I am Joe Bob.
Look, I switch on the color like Valerie said.
Yep, hold it up tight. Yep, just like that.
And now I put on my finger, and now you see there is contact. I take my finger away and it flushes around. So this tells you contact or no contact with the skin of a dog. Our experience is that 95% of all the dog trainers with whatever brand don't have contact with the skin, and due to that, are able to communicate with their dogs on low stim levels. And that's why everybody cranks up the levels until a moment that there is enough energy to jump over from the probes to the skin, and we call that the III contact, and that's the stim by accident, and it's an involuntary overstim by accident, and it happens with everybody and with all the brands. And Martin Systems, Bernard here, after drinking 2 beers, did find a way to make a consistent, reliable stim, and a method that tells you contact or no contact.
And this method is done without feeling anything, because it could be easy to find there is contact or not, but it's not easy without feeling anything on the electrode side.
You know what he means?
I don't understand that. Can you explain that better, Bernard?
So you can send a big stimulation and you will feel it, and you can say, okay, it's a good contact. But here you have a very, very, very small stimulation between the electrode that's make you it's not
it's a third of
only
one,
2
right?
minutes that it works.
It's a third of one, right?
Yeah.
It's a third of the level 1. The stimulation is 1/3 of one that is testing.
What Bernard is to make sure that the system measure contact or no contact, there is energy needed to go from A to B
to see if there is
contact. And that energy is very, very low, and that's the trick, he said. And
and I think that indicator of contact, like when we work with these dogs, trust is paramount, and trust, just like reputation, takes a while to build, sometimes years. and can take a second to tear down, right? And that's why I was so, when I first saw that that we have an indicator that says that we know that this is making contact, to me that was the game changer as a professional, and as the experiences that I've had working with dogs, trying to build that trust, trying to find that level, and then getting to that I that Bart was talking about, and then realizing, oh man, I really screwed up in this relationship. I hope that I can rebuild some of this that just happened. And if I could alleviate that, if I could take that out of the scenario and not worry about any type of uncertainty, the more certainty that I can have when working with these animals, it is my moral obligation to go that way, because it's the more effective and efficient means of communication. And that's exactly what we are doing. And not only that, but just like Bart was saying about the animal welfare, all of this stuff is at the end of the day is for the dog and for the communication that we do with this different species. And so it's.
Well, 10 years ago when I was training pet dogs in Washington, and all the dogs, if they wanted off-leash behaviors, they had to have an e-collar. To have 100%, you must have an e-collar. To say anything else is lying. So I would let them pick out what e-collar they wanted, because it makes no difference to me. I wasn't making money off any company. So I would explain what they could get. And most people, when you explain and you actually know enough to explain it, everyone would opt for Martin's system with finger kick, because they like the SSD, they like the contact measurement, they liked a long battery life, they liked a good range, and they liked.
What happens a lot at Bill is with dog trainers, they have no contact from in the beginning.
Yeah.
Then they mess around, and at a certain point there is that involuntary overstim. And if you have a normal dog, he goes in flight, he goes away. If you have a strong dog, he goes in fight and he bites who is as close to him to get out of that pressure. These are facts. Then that involuntary overstim is impossible if you use the benefits of the collar receiver, because a lot of people don't know the benefits of this, and they even don't know that this exists. They just buy the collar because it's fancy and looks good, but there is something more than just looks, and that's what frustrates us. We don't reach the end consumer with advertising. We don't reach them with the manuals because people don't read manuals, and we don't reach them with videos because it's too long
and too much. And most dealers and most resellers also don't know the product well enough to tell their customers.
And then there's another involuntary overstim. For example, you have your collar set on level 5. You have good contact with your dog. Now your dog goes in the water. He comes out of the water. Two things does happen. Or when you push, nothing happens because all the stimulation goes in the fur away. Or the stimulation arrive on the skin of a dog, and when you have no SSC, that skin will be much more vulnerable for the same stim as on the dry before, and that dog now will do or will feel the involuntary overstim. And a lot of dog trainers, if they are fair, they did experience that in the past, and that's why they turn immediately their rotation knob or whatever down to not have that feeling. With our brand, you have to do nothing. It's the same sensation.
But a lot of people don't even know.
Oh, no, they don't know.
They don't do it. They don't do that.
Well, and even I mean, just not just water, but even salt water up here in the Pacific Northwest. We go out into the where the ocean, where the water's salty, and that leads even more to the conductivity of that electrical stream here. You know,
so you will never have a problem with this Martin Systems brand. Never. It's automatically regulated. That's Bernard that did invent it after 2 beers. And what
the contact too, the down below, you know, this guy. So the constant contact, along with the ability to move my feather contacts to different positions on the actual collar itself, is what he's saying. And especially lower on the neck. When I was watching you at the IACP conference, putting this collar on Emma's schnauzer, little cricket. Do you remember that little dog, Bart?
Yeah.
and then putting it down low and not having to cinch that sucker up. You know, when I was working with other, we would have apprehension before we even turned on the collar because of putting the receiver on the dog, and people are like, "Whoa, that's super tight." And I remember, like, we couldn't even get past the point of this collar just being super tight on their dog. People love their dogs, man. They love them, and they really, really want to be advocates for them. And
because it can be low, the breathing is so much better. Just the mechanics of it is nicer. Yeah.
Well, and it stays there too. I mean, it stays. It's going to be coming down low with the box anyway. But yeah, especially lower on the neck has been a game changer for me too.
Now you're speaking more about the chameleon. The chameleon is designed so that there is island to island, and there is space so that the fur of the dog can go out of that island so that it cannot shift around. So that was one idea that Michael and I had in the old days. And due to the fact that the fur goes through the collar fits much tighter, like a glove around the neck of a dog. That's very specific also. And of course, the whole idea was that the contact points can be interchanged on different islands to diminish the chance on necrosis. 2, some dogs very fast desensitize to stim. To keep them sensitive, you can change the contact spot. So there is hundreds of reasons why.
And the other reason is because we have contacts on the sides, so when you pull it, the sides go in.
That's
With
right.
traditional contacts, they're on the bottom part. The only way is to make it really tight. That's the only way to make it have a good contact.
Well, and the contact indicator is there, so you can look at it right away and be like, "Oh my gosh!" I remember when I first put it on one of my dogs, I loosened it up, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's still making contact! Oh my gosh, it's still making contact!" And I remember thinking, "This is great," you know. And I think a lot of people, the price point of this collar too. Like, I think a lot of people have just automatically kind of shrugged it away as something that they cannot afford. And I think that they need to revisit that, because you guys are constantly innovating, not just on the technological side, but on the budget side as well, and offering a more competitive product at a price point that people actually really can afford. And I think that is amazing. We're finally hitting that bifurcation point of like, look, this makes sense to really, really look into this as a Joe, the regular Joe Schmo off the streets, not just professionals using it. Joe Bob, yeah, there we go.
Well, what we must understand is by the fact that Michael and I could purchase Martin systems, we did cut the middman out. The middman was BCBB, the company that Michael and I had before. So we licensed the product from Martin Systems and had to take our profit margins on it. Now that we are one and the same company, we did lower immediately the price of Chameleon 2, and 4 months ago we launched the Chameleon 3 with a tiny trainer for finger kick.
That comes with a finger kick.
Yeah,
for 690 euro tax included for Europe. That means that for the American market, you take 690 minus 21%.
Divided by 1.21.
Yes, that's the point.
My goodness.
Yeah, because they still think that it's very, very expensive.
But
it's still expensive.
It's for a whole set. It's not just for a collar.
So, I mean,
well, in my opinion, you cannot afford. I mean, the reliability and the communication, and the contact measurement, the stable stem. There's just so many reasons why it just makes sense. And just like Valerie says here, or what is her name, Bernard? What's this lady's name here?
Valerie.
She says, I am still planning to come to Belgium to learn the collar inside and out and distribute them. I want them in my packages that include them. And that's it. It's like, look, this should be something that, I'm planning on including them in my premium packages as well when I do my classes. And just,
Well, the thing
I'm
is,
having a real hard time going back. I'm having a real hard time going back.
it's very nice when you return a dog and you know that their timing is going to be better because of the finger kick, and you know that they can check for contact, and that. So it's good to give a quality product to your customer.
Michael and I have a full-time job with the Nepopot Training School, and we also have a full-time job with the Martin Systems company. And with the school, I think we have worldwide 150 gold students. And our dream was that only the gold students could purchase the products to retail them with a lot of advice and a lot of what we call training sessions. It's not feasible for the moment, but we hope that one day our gold people will wake up and understand that they have a privileged position and that we will honor that. For the moment, we cannot honor only them because we must pay all the bills that come in this company.
Right.
So we must keep on selling until everybody is right to take decisions. And well, it's like a card game. You shuffle the game and you see how it works around, you know. It's a free market economy.
Before we bought Martin System, the students already had the best price on the Chameleon products that we made at BCBB. And then when we bought the company, we were like, we're going to expand this. And now the Gold School students also have a very special price on Martin System products. And we wanted to make the Chameleon products exclusive for them, but you see, we're always thinking of the students.
We want it without being a franchise system because we don't want legal problems all over the world.
No.
So we believe in free market economy.
And yes, and we also believe that people should be, we let our students don't have to sell Martin System. They don't have to use Martin System. But most of them, when they use it,
They love it.
They love it. But yeah, we believe in free thinking.
Now, I'm going to interfere here very short because this is a message for all the world. By being on the school as a teacher, Michael and I do see that a lot of people do have problems with a leash, a pinch collar, a choke collar, a clicker. So people do have problems with the automatic pilot use of the tools, which is also the e-collar. So we do see that people don't know their tools good enough to blind cuffed be able to train with it and blind cuffed be able to say, hey, where's my right hand? Where's my left hand? People go too fast to tools without knowing the tools inside, outside. And we do see that in the school, and that's why we are mean, and we tell them, hey, you will not pass if you don't know your tool. We push them, we push them, we push them, but it's amazing to see how everybody has the same problem. We want to train, but we don't want to learn training methods. We don't want to learn, we just want to do. And well, in want to do, you blow up a lot of dogs because you don't know your tools good enough. We are amazed to see that. So, and we tell people, hey, you must know on, off, changing levels, go from low to high, go to rising stim. How do you pair? You transmit it to your collar. How do you unpair? How can somebody else pair?
How can you add a finger kick?
Yeah. We are so amazed to see. You know what I did today? Today, the whole day, I did make little videos with the iPhone.
Oh, yes, yes.
Like a guerrilla warrior. And I make them maximum 2 minutes. And Michael will put them on Facebook and Michael will put them on the website. And well, I'm sick and tired to say, hey, it's in the manual. People don't read manuals. If we make videos longer than 4 minutes, they don't watch.
No.
It must be short. And I'm sure even if it's on YouTube or on the website, people will still ask, where is it?
Yes.
And then you must tell them that's the video. And on second 36, you must open your eyes and open your bloody ears.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Well, I know we've had plenty of conversations about this where you have expressed frustration over the people's they just kind of blow past the details here, and these are significant features that are going to benefit your relationship with these animals that people are kind of looking over, where you want to get back and say like, no, this is important, and here's why this is important, and not only that, but you're kind of filling in the gaps between the concept that we're trying to introduce to the dog, and the reliable communication that takes for that dog to get what you're trying to tell them and piece it together in a reliable way. Right.
Now, the whole thing was meant to be a little bit around Bernard here. Huh? And what we should like to say is, for example, this is the old transmitter from Martin Systems, which is a transmitter where you had immediate contact with level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, and you could run different dogs. That was the idea. This was the color that was matching it. It's quite huge.
Yeah.
Now, then he came in the company and redesigned a lot of things to make it much smaller and on other frequencies. For example, interesting to see is, do you have an MPS2 transmitter there? The handhold unit, you don't have it here? No. Okay, I'm gonna get one. So you can continue. I'm gonna get a transmitter to show that your job was to put the electronics in the same housing.
Those electronics?
Yes. They can put the interest receiver.
Well, anybody too, let me know if you guys have any questions. If anybody's on the fence, if you've gotten any callers or any Martin Systems products, if you have any testimonials for us, let us know. And then I also wanted to talk too about the finger kick, not just pairing, but that was another thing that I saw when I first saw Bart do a presentation, a seminar. And the other thing that I loved about Bart's seminar that he did was he strapped collars on people. And then he put $100 bill out there. He put $100 bill and he said, somebody's going to win this $100. And he would use the collar to communicate with these people the way that they're supposed to be communicating with these dogs. And it was pretty cool to watch. And then I remember him saying Jack and Coke.
Yeah.
Over and over. You're like, Jack and Coke. I don't remember.
And I remember that some people were so willing to have the money that they did run through the highest level of the e-collar.
Like dogs do.
Like dogs do when they like to chase cats.
Yes, the reward.
They are prepared to go to a lot of negatives to achieve their hope, their goals. But to go back to this transmitter, this was a housing. And in the old days, there was no budget. And then the boss told Bernard, you must make a GPS system in the same housing. And that came out, this is a GPS system.
Okay.
Other companies work with a lot of engineers and big budget to make things. So his budget was make something from nothing. It's fantastic. I mean, it's
sometimes that's the best way, because then you really have to be creative. A lot of people with a lot of money waste a lot of money sometimes because they just keep throwing it out. But when you don't have that, it forces you to innovate and be creative.
Yeah, Bernard.
And so we also developed a bird's GPS system for a falcon. So Mr. Martin was a falconer, so he has falcon for hunting.
Wow.
And
that would go on the bird?
Yes. So it was attached by the two springs.
Okay.
And it's put on the tail of the falcon. And with the receiver, you can follow the falcon. So you have the distance and the direction of your falcon. Or you can also follow the falcon on an application on your phone. And so you have the exact position of your bird.
Wow.
So really precise.
And that's all we have budget.
When did you make this?
Please?
Yeah.
After 3 beers.
After 3 beers.
Yeah.
No, but how long ago? How long ago did you make the?
5 years ago.
Wow.
5 years. Yeah.
Well, and I think that, even Garmin, when they brought Tritronics, they tried to do, or they're trying to innovate with this too. And I think that you were showing stuff that was 5 years ago that they're still trying to achieve today.
Wow. So for example, for the dogs, it's like that.
Smallest in the world.
Smallest in the world, and it's perhaps 3 times smaller than the Garmin one, with
Wow.
a very, very short antenna. I don't know if you show it, because the Garmin antenna are
Huge.
it's bigger than the dog sometimes.
Well, I know that antenna slapping on the dog's head or whatever is going to have some influence over the behavior as well. And, you know, so tell me the finger kick. I wanted to talk a little bit about the finger kick too.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you want to know about the finger kick?
So why is a finger kick important? First off, let's start there.
So,
Well, I will jump in here. What people must understand is if you train a dog with remote control device, and if you want to have timing very effective, you must hold the transmitter in your hands. There is no other way. So that's a fact. By holding the transmitter in your hand, you have a very strong cue for the dog. The dog knows the boss has the cue in the hand. 2, there is also the big visual cue for the outer world that does see that you have a remote control in your hand, especially in Europe where the e-collar is on the siege. It is not the way to go for the moment. And third of all, if you need your hands free, you cannot hold a transmitter in your hand. For police work or whatever, where they have the responsibility over their gun sometimes, a gun and a leash, that doesn't make sense, can be very dangerous. A gun and something in your hands, it doesn't make sense. So that's why years ago we came up with the idea of a push button on the finger. And I remember about 12, 13 years ago, I came to Charles, the boss, and Bernard was there in the meeting, 10 years ago, and I say, hey, we need a button on the finger. And I remember that the boss, Charles, was not very convinced, and I could convince him to make a cable that went from the transmitter to your finger. So the little transmitter, we did keep it on the arm.
So,
I think that I have it somewhere.
So it was with the first tiny trainers that we made 15 years ago, and we had a wire with a button.
We brought one home just recently.
Well, I mean, I remember him showing me it too, when the thing that goes around the cuff and then it goes right up to the finger there, you know. And I think that was originally for the gun. Here, let me put this here so people can walk around with that gun and then also have be able to stim the dog as well.
Yeah, and I remember that we did copy. We did buy the push buttons from the special forces from Austria that they used on their radio system. So it was from the special forces. They need the button that always worked in the water, out of the water, and you need the feedback with or without gloves.
Well, and I think that's significant also to mention here, folks, is that Bart is working with not only the world's best people as far as these soldiers and warriors, but he's also working with the world's best and smartest dogs. And if the world's best people are wanting the highest quality products, and if they're choosing Martin Systems products, I think that other dog trainers throughout the world should pay attention to that. That's social proof. That's what we call social proof.
Now, we also had to commercially prove it to Mr. Charles Martin. I remember that the first Charles, we did sell more than 200 pieces. And then Charles said, whoa. And then they did write the patents, and they were making the Bluetooth, which was making the whole thing easier because cables do break, and there was always happy horseshit happening, you know?
What was it? Happy what?
Happy horseshit. There's always funny shit happening.
So Bernard has something.
So, but I don't
The it's not really Bluetooth. That's not the specific terminology.
So it's not. We talk all the time as Bluetooth, but it's not Bluetooth like we have on the phone and so on. It's another kind of communication that it's very low power for the device. So it's why we can have a very, very small ring that we can fit perfectly on the finger, and without the possibility to change the battery, because the battery is here for 4 or 5 years, or sometimes 10 years. So
well, that's huge too. And then I see too that other, once people see the value of this, it just makes sense that this needs to be an add-on feature to other collars. And we're starting to see other companies add this, but they have something that's very unique. They have a on-off button on those batteries, and I mean, you guys have a 2-year warranty on the finger kick, right?
yeah.
Not only the finger kick, we give 2-year warranty on battery life, which no company dares to do. For example, I have here a watch from a strong company, which is G-Shock.
Yes.
It's a 2-year warranty, but not on the battery. So, and that's why Bernard did design a very strong little electronic device around the finger that is very low in draining batteries. And he had the guts to put it in injected molding, which means that you cannot open it, to put a new battery inside. And by the way, we have an experience. Everything people can open, water will come in sooner or later. So for us, nothing can open. Because people always lie, they never opened it. Of course they opened it. And we don't want to know it. So no more opening things.
All right, we have a question here from, who is this question from, Bernard?
Valerie.
Who is it, Bernard?
Valerie.
There we go. Okay, so we have, for me, I have to train service dogs. For physical disabilities, the finger kick has allowed me to use my remote collar without losing a hand I need for anything else. It's life changer for silent communication with my dogs.
Absolutely.
And not only that, but if we think about a second for with people with disabilities, sometimes they don't have the motor function to grip or to grab this remote, but this allows them. But they do have a finger or something that they can use to just push this ring. It allows them more capabilities to communicate with their service dog as well.
It's easier, Bill.
Well, and so not only that, but look at, here we go. I washed mine in my pocket. It survived the wash and dryer. So the finger kicks, we have some stories, a couple stories about what have you guys seen these finger kicks go through that proves the level of quality?
We did find back finger kicking dog poo.
Yeah. Well,
So a dog ate the finger kick. It went through the dog, and it came out the dog poo in the feces. And what was that, Michael? It worked.
And it worked.
So he washed it off, I'm assuming. And then
I think he did not wash it. I'm so happy I find it working.
And, so through the washing machine, through the dog.
It's stomach resistant and it's poo resistant. And what people don't know is that the resin that we use is biological, so it's not poison. So we have the chemical tests about it.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that just speaks to the quality of the product. And as we all know as professionals, man, I've heard stories. I want to write a book about experiences that I've heard through my colleagues. I mean, I've had a German Shepherd myself eat a ceramic coffee cup. You know,
Oh,
yeah. I mean, there's so many things that these dogs can do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys have some too. I'm going to tap you in for some stories.
Yeah, things, but that's for the late evening show with only adult people there.
Yeah, the adult show.
I'm telling you.
Well, and
but I want to go back to that Bluetooth ring or the finger kick.
Yeah.
12 years ago, it was an exclusivity. Now there is 3 brands having it, and we are convinced here around this table that in 10 years, all the companies will have it. There is no way around it. There is no way around it. It is so uncumbersome. It's easy to use, but we should not sing hallelujah, because there is also a downside. It's that if you shake somebody's hands and if your finger kick is touching the hand of the other person, you can stim involuntarily your dog. Or you grab a dumbbell, you can stim involuntarily your dog. It means that all coins have two sides.
Yeah.
It's not only hallelujah. And there it is again. People must learn the ins and the outs of every product. That means that if you're in a situation where things could happen, you must flip the finger kick at the other side of your finger. I mean, this is common sense, but people are not expecting that, and always involuntary accidents happen because people are not very coordinated
Mhm.
or a little bit ignorant also. I mean, we make special buttons. You cannot believe it took more than a year to design the button. The curve so that it could not stim in your pocket. You can wear it in your pocket. It cannot stim. It can only stim if you feel the button and you push on the button. So, and then we did even up without the button in the beginning, but then some people did not find the space to put on it. So we had to change it again. So you must find the balance between being as safe as possible, but also being usable in the outdoors, because Bernard can test stuff behind the computer where it's the inside of the house temperature, which is nice, but at the outside sometimes it's very cold and you don't feel the buttons. So it's very important. So we did put a lot of focus on that, and it took about 1 year before we were all in agreement.
The reason is also different when it's hot and when it's cold. So we need to have a good sensation of a good feeling of the button, even when it's totally cold.
What Bernard means is you close your eyes. With your eyes closed, you must feel that your finger kick makes contact. You feel there's a little nick moment. You feel that. When you press, your finger will tell, yes, you did hit the button. So we call it tactical feeling. I don't know the English words.
That's a great
feedback.
A tactile feedback.
It's a tactile feedback, which was very, very important for us. Yeah.
Well, I call it gnosis, which is knowledge through experience. It's not just reading about something. It's actually experiencing it, immersing yourself with it, feeling it, and so you know it almost like you know your name. You know it in and out. You know all the features, and not only do you know the features, but you also know how to use these features to either curb or to reward or to just basically communicate with the dog in a variety of different circumstances, in a variety of different environments, in a variety of different weather situations, and basically that's it. This, we have these little boxes. I don't have mine here, but we have these little boxes that we carry around everywhere that give us access to all this information. They're called iPhones, and at a push of a button. And I think that, it has caused us to really, really kind of overlay that expectation on other bits of technology. But when we have this technology that we're using to influence behavior, then it's kind of steps up the expectation and the thoroughness that you need to really, really understand this, and because it is paramount that we know this, because we have to know not only what it's going to do to the dog, but also the shortcomings that we have based on the technology that has kind of shortened the expectations of outcome expectations for us. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Now, another specific idea is that what you just said, if you sit in front of your computer in your office, by wiping the magnet on your color receiver, you see the contact measurement. You see it because you can hold your eyes very close. When you're outside in the daylight, it's not so easy. That's why Bernard, Michael, me, and the whole team, we decided to go for the next version where all the information that is on your collar will come back on your, what we call transmitter, in this case, bidirectional. That means that all the information from the collar will go to your transmitter. Your transmitter will tell you contact or no contact, so you don't have to see your collar anymore.
Yeah,
Of course
make
not.
it much.
But the price point is not beautiful. People will hate the price point. You see what I mean? But we must go to a very high price to make it so that we have our R&D money back and that we don't rip our pants off. I mean, and that's a project that is, we're busy doing that. It's a very nice project.
Especially Bernard.
And one of the features, and the most important features, is switching on and switching off the color on distance. The second most important is when it's on, it will immediately tell you color has contact on the skin or not. And a third very important will be your radio contact is not installed because your collar is too far away from your transmitter, or there is too much fences in between, which is lovely. So this is all information. And then can I reveal a secret about hot cold? Yes. The collar will tell you.
He always reveals a secret to you.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. I love it. Exclusive, folks. Exclusive. Hold on.
Well, it's only you. I mean,
exclusive.
Oh my God.
we know that if you know it, nobody will know it.
Yeah.
What Bill knows, nobody knows.
Here, I'm gonna do this here. Crawler exclusive.
Temperature is more important because the temperature of the dog and the environment of the dog is very important. There's a lot of dogs dying in the cars because of it's too hot. There is dogs having a heat stroke during training. And in Europe, it will be allowed to have a remote control temperature around the neck of your dog. There is no animal welfare, whatever, that can prohibit that. So the contact points are made to take the temperature of the skin. So what else? So we are thinking on, it's a chameleon. They can never pinpoint you, hey, you are training with your dog. No, we are taking temperature of the dog. It's an animal welfare idea, and so on and so on.
And it can be used as that.
Of course.
Realistically. Yeah.
Well, and not only that, but just the fact that the chameleon disappears on the dog too. Like I have 2 dogs that are under 20 pounds, and people don't even know when they're wearing that chameleon collar, and I think that is amazing.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Yeah, that's very nice.
So we have a question from Robin Muller. I recently bought 2 medium-sized chameleon 3s for my dogs, and I am transitioning them from Pro Educator. Both of my dogs are pretty sensitive. Can you talk about the number of contact points on a collar can change the sensation the dog feels on level 1? Also, if I have 4 feathers on a medium collar, will that have the same sensational level as 4 regular contact points?
It's a good question.
So
Bernard will explain the technique.
Yeah.
So the thing it's the current that's the stimulation is made by the current that's feel through the skin of the dogs by the electrode. And if you have a large contact point, the current will be
like this.
Will be on all the surface of the contact point, and so the sensation will be less than the very sharp contact point. And the thing it's very good with the feathers is that even when the collar is tight, the contact will be all the time the same. Only the small part will be in
lift
contact.
it up just a little bit.
Yes.
There we go. So the feathers right there, the wires.
So you will have all the time the same sensation with the feathers. So for the question about the 2 or 4 contact points, of course, when you put 4 contact points, you distribute the current on the 2 feathers, or the two pair of feathers. So you will decrease the sensation by 2, about by 2 on the sensation of the dogs.
The rule is easy. The less contact points you have, the more dog will feel. The more contact points you have, the less the dog will feel the same level. That's the rule.
It just
Okay.
spreads it out over more contact points. And so if you have less, then it's going to be more concentrated.
Imagine that that dog reacts on one pair of feathers. It reacts too much, which is possible. How can you lower that sensation? Electronically, you cannot go lower. Mechanically, you can go lower by adding another pair of feathers or by putting normal, very dull contact points. If it's still too much, you double, you triple the contact points. On the island, every island, you can put 3 contact points. That means that the more contact points you put on islands, the less the dog will sensate, feel the same level. That's
Will
the
you
basic.
show me the island there, the contact points on the island?
And you can also, with a very sensitive dog, use have a training issue. So you can give a small stim on one and food.
Yeah. So they pair it with something good, and it charges it up. We charge it up with. There we go. So lift it up just a little bit. So we have one that's already filled there with the black one, and then we have the other 2. And so down below the red ones, and you can see that the black one is up on the one side. That's the negative, and then the positive. You understand about electricity, the polarity, excuse me, of the negative and positive charges. So, let me see.
That you can put 3 contact point by island. So you have the 2 white screw. You can remove it and place 2 contact point. So you will also decrease the sensation by doing that.
If you put 3 contact points on one island, for example, on the red island, you should also put 3 contact points on the black island. It must always be equal. Otherwise, you disturb the system. That doesn't make sense. But what Michael was telling there is very important also. You have a lot of dogs that did sensate the III stimulation by accident.
Yes.
They are oversensitive to the stimulation. Even if you go to low level, their reaction is still overreactive.
Right.
And then as a dog trainer, you must say, well, I must desensitize that dog. I have to counter condition that unpleasant feeling. How you do? With existential food. Just before you feed a dog, you tap on the lowest level and you give the food immediately. Even if the dog is overreacting a little bit. After 1 week, you tap that low level and the dog will be in the aha mode.
I get food now.
So, and that's a lot of dog trainers must do that in the first week. Michael had to do that a lot of times when she did receive dogs that were trained by other people, you know. She had to desensitize the oversensitive dogs again, because the e-collar was not used as a communication tool, it was used as a prohibition tool.
Yeah. Well, and imagine how you feel if you go to a dentist and you have no problem with dentist, you're chatting it up, all that stuff, and then the dentist hits a nerve and boom, it just sends a jolt into your body. Guess what? Now you're apprehensive. Like, even if you're like okay with that appointment, the next time you go to that dentist, you're going to remember that, and it's going to cause some anxiety. And if it happens again, it's going to get worse. And that's what happens here, is that these dogs have, and I really, really want to highlight this word, they have experienced an involuntary, overstim. This has been involuntary, and that's huge, you know, because we are governing these dogs and we need the consent of the governed. And whenever we're dealing with anything involuntary, we got a problem.
Right. No, of course.
Yes.
You know, so these collars and Martin System equipment, excuse me. And Robin, let me know, Robin, I wanted to let, if we answered the question that you posed here, and those were great questions. I love the fact that we can spread that stem, because sometimes we have super soft dogs that just are really, really sensitive, you know, and we need to have a different approach for that animal. And they're all individuals, right? We're not dealing with just the dog that we've trained over and over. Every dog is different, and we need to respect that that individual dog, and that's our job as trainers. These collars and Martin Systems equipment are what the smartphone did. You won't be able to live or train without it, or nor would you want to, in my opinion. You know. Do you manufacture a short contact for what's that?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So Valerie says, do you manufacture a short contact for low single coat dogs? I'd like to replace the feathers with blunter contacts, but the long ones look really long on a super smooth coat dog.
I'm going to answer that. I'm going to take a few things to show it. In the meantime, you can ask a few other questions here.
Okay. And then Robin, to follow up, she says, yes, you answered the question. Thanks. And then she also said, thanks. I have put 8 regular contact points on a collar for my most sensitive dogs, and it seems to be the right level for her.
Yeah.
And she is using food always, you know.
Yes, and that actually happened at a school where the dog was extreme sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
So we put a lot of contact points on and counter conditioned, and that can do the trick.
Well, and also, I mean, as a professional too, there are some things that Martin Systems allows for us to do to kind of keep an extra handle on these collars. And if you are a professional, you know, contact these guys about some USB settings that they can do with these collars to ensure that your clients, especially those that are really green with the collar, are not going to be overstimming the dog. Basically, you can limit the levels that the collar goes to be kind of a watchdog for the clients that make sure that they're you know, doing the right for their dog.
Well, I wanted to actually discuss, because she was talking about level 1, and on the new TT4FK we have the default settings, and then we have some higher settings.
Okay.
So why don't you talk about that? But level 1 is the same on both. But level 1, I can. It's a little bit hard for me right here, but I could, if I had regular contact points, I could put level 1 on the parts of my eyes where I don't have much skin, and it's still very hard to feel. So level 1 is.
You put it on your eyes.
Right here.
Dang, you guys are hardcore over there at Martin.
Yeah.
I put it lower.
You put it on where yes,
I don't want to know. I don't want to know what Bart does.
Are we in the night show already?
Oh, we're.
But okay, so
For the thing on the tiny trainers, we only have 9 level, and on the PT 3000, we have up to 18 level. So the things with the tiny trainers, we need to choose which level which one compared to the PT 3000. So we decide to put a default mode with low level. That means that the level 1 to 8 of the tiny trainers is the same as the level 1 to 8 of the PT 2000.
Okay.
And the level 9 of the tiny trainers is the level 11 of the pro trainers.
So you have one spanking mode, and the rest is a very smooth, a very smooth sloping increase from 1 to 8.
1 to 8.
Okay.
And then you have the ramp up feature too that you can set.
We have to ramp up, but we also.
So we have also an extended level mode. That means that the level 1 of the tiny trainers is still the level 1 of the PT 2000, but the level 9 of the tiny trainers is the level 18 of the PT 3000, and all other levels are between. So that means that you can use high level also with the tiny trainers on this kind of mode.
Video about that today.
Yes. So that's the thing, is I think sometimes when people play around with it, they go to the high mode or they go to the low mode, and they don't realize it because they don't read their manual.
It's easy, huh?
It's easy.
You
So I
press.
have a request here from Robin. She says, can you guys how about different color rubber jackets for the tiny trainer? So if you have 2 remotes, it's easy to tell them apart.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's there, and then
Does she has nail polish? She can
Yeah.
yeah, there you go.
rubber. I mean,
Paint it.
you know.
Okay, about R&D, is it based on the type of dog you train, meet or heard about them, or have or you have protocol for R&D that working dogs will be used for development. I'm not sure what exactly, Harshit. If you are you asking that, do they only use working dogs to innovate? I'm not sure about the question. Do you guys understand that?
The thing that the guy must understand that we don't use dogs to try the electricity.
The dog is Bart.
Yeah, the dog is Bart.
Yeah, Bart dog.
Yes, and sometimes Bart will run around the shop barking or doing whatever with the e-collar around his neck. Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that true?
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Bart is our best tester of the
Yes.
no bark collar.
There you go. So,
About that question where the lady needed smoother contact points. Fact is that we did design the chameleon in the beginning for the whole sport dog industry.
okay.
Slowly, the benefits of the chameleon, due to the price, are more and more accessible for the large public and for more and more dog trainers with more and more normal and sensitive skin dogs. That's why we have a European gauge, which is 4 millimeter. So our thread is 4 millimeter. We have little what we call.
Can you hold that way up to the camera? Titanium?
It's true.
Are they up?
Little flat.
Little flat screw. You see it? Little flat screw.
Okay, got it.
You put it in and you screw it in with your hand. And then we have a whole type of different contact points that you can screw on it to make it so that this is a very
So that it's how you want.
soft contact point, very soft one.
She says that this is for the Great Dane, Lagatha, her Great Dane in Holland. That's what it's for.
Yes.
We will send her a lot of things she can experiment. And then another thing that is very important is the stainless steel that we use in our classic contact points is specially made of a special stainless steel that is whatever.
Yes.
It minimalizes the necrosis possibility, which is the chemical necrosis. But we can, we are so busy. If people ask it next time, we put it in a little package and we send it to her. Low points, long points, crazy points, whatever. And then there is somewhere that's the redesign of the contact points that will come.
What I love about you guys is that you're constantly innovating. And not only that, but you have your hands on, as I was saying earlier, the best of the best athletes dog-wise in the world. And so the expectations are exceedingly instead of just the regular old pet dog, and these guys.
For example, what people have to do is that we deliver it with these contact points for now. Okay?
Right.
These contact points are quite cheap to make. Are we happy with them? Well, it's good, but it's not perfect. That's why we come out with new contact points later. There will be these ones.
Okay, with the little rubber plastic housing there.
They look like real contact points, you see. So that will come. And what we also make, and we customize this, is feather contact points. Can you see it?
Oh wow, yeah, look at that.
Okay, so but this is what we call customized stuff. It's impossible to make it on a large scale. This is special demand. There is no price shipping for it. It's just customer service. If they want it, they pay it. If they don't want it, forget about it. So what can we say?
Well, most of the stuff that is you're innovating with is not going to make it to the final cut, and so most of this stuff is just money down the drain, and so it costs money to innovate, and people need to realize that.
But of course, it's fun to make it. That we must admit. But there is a price point where, as a manager, you must say, do we want to make people just happy, or must the company be happy by making profit also?
Must the company stay alive?
So we must find a balance where everybody's happy.
Yeah, makes sense.
There is no investors knocking at our door and say, hey, we need return on investment.
Which is good.
Well, we have about a few thousands to invest again for that Chameleon 4. It's a lot of money that by having a company, Michael and I understand why most companies never innovate. Innovation is dangerous, tricky, and very expensive.
You have
And
to
how
step
do-
very carefully.
Yes, and
Yes.
how do you amortize your investments? Well, our amortizing is we don't go in holiday, we eat a little bit less. I mean, we like working, what can I tell you? But we are not awake of amortizing. It's not our key word. Our key word is we want Chameleon 4 and it will come.
We will make it.
We will make
pay
it,
for it
and
somehow.
Chameleon 4 will be the start of Chameleon 5. And then just, oh yeah.
Well, the motives that you guys have are not driven by profits. It's driven by, well, why do you do this? Why do you do this?
We need profit, Bill. There is no way around. So we need profit. So it's important. And
Otherwise, we have to stop
yeah,
because
Yeah.
it's too stressful for everybody here if we can't keep stock or we can't pay for things.
so we need profit. That's a
Well,
fact.
and my point of doing these videos is that I think a lot of dog professionals don't know what they don't know, and they don't know what's out there. And even if they do get their hands on this stuff, they don't realize the depth of features and how they can utilize it to act right now to get communication and behavior that you're wanting out of your dog. And a lot of times they just kind of get stuck in a rut, you know.
Yeah.
And I think also that's go ahead.
But people go with what's familiar.
Right. Well, and they also, I mean, anytime that we're talking about critical thinking or any of that, we have to realize that us as human beings, we have a conscious mind and it's full of all these beliefs. And any new information, before it's accepted as information, is first held against beliefs before it's even accepted. You know, and we have to realize that a lot of times we as dog trainers might have some beliefs that are a little bit wrong. We might try to rush through things and not realize the value of being slow and doing things with intent, walking with excellence. And I wanted to say, you guys are doing a Napopo Silver School, and that's a good way as professionals to kind of get into the network of the world's best dog trainers. And you're doing one here in November in Missouri, in America. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, it's correct.
It was interesting. I was just speaking with our director of sales because normally I don't share the school things on our shop things. And I don't share our shop things on our school things because I keep them very separate. But this is the first time I really shared our school things on our shop things because
It makes sense.
Yes.
before I always just tried to keep it very clean. And I never will interfere with the school side with products because people like their own products and they like and that's a teaching site. But I made the jump today and shared the school information on the Bart Bellin shop, and because no one else has it, and because we care about how it works.
Yes.
We're testing it and we're using it, and we can explain it. We can talk to you about it.
About the school, we reach dog trainers that want to know more. If they are the best dog trainers of the world, they can become. It's not because you finish the school that you are the best dog trainer. We think that if you finish the school with success, that you have the knowledge, and there again, with a trial and error process, to reach a quite high level within 5 years, where other people need 30 and 40 years for.
Well, it's a little bit like if you go to school and you get a chemistry degree. You have a degree in chemistry. You know a lot about it. But are you a real chemist? Not until you go and work and develop something or do something with your degree and really apply it after a few years. Then you're a real chemist. Before you're you're a student who has a chemistry degree
Yeah.
or an engineering
Yeah,
degree.
the same
Yes.
for each.
So
each,
you are educated and you can do a lot with it, but now you know everything you need. Now go do it.
Mhm.
It's like being a builder. You went to, I don't know, is there a building school?
Yes.
But then after you learn how to build something, you actually have to go out and build it.
Yeah, well, you got to go out and make mistakes too, and that's the bad thing about this is some of the mistakes are being made on animals, and
Right.
this gives us an opportunity to, and that's what I liked about watching Bart for the first time is that we're the dogs. We become the dog by proxy, and that's what I tell my clients all the time. The biggest mistake that I see happening is anthropomorphication or putting human characteristics on the animal. And the first thing that I'm doing is exercises to let them become the dog by proxy and looking through the world through, a dog's eyes.
Right.
And so,
It's a little bit like the story of Bernard. Bernard is what we call a civil engineer. It's the highest degree of engineers in his specialty, electronics. And the normal way to become a civil engineer in European schools is you go to a normal higher school and then go to university. Bernard went through the technical schools, and there they saw, whoa, this guy has a little bit more in his brain than working with his hands. He should go to higher levels, and he had teachers that did force him to go to university. And that's why he fits so well in this company where you must create with nothing. Yeah. And Bernard could work in the biggest companies of the world, but he likes to work in this little stinky rat hole. Well, he has the freedom to move around, and he can be innovative, he can be creative, he helps Michael with translations. He does a little bit construction. He works with our subcontractors and go to the mechanical work, the hand work. So he knows it very well, and that's fun, And
you, like you say, you can here you can have special relaxing.
Yes.
You don't need yoga.
Yes.
Bart yoga.
We have special relaxing rooms.
Well, I think that as professionals, we kind of bring it up to the next level because we are getting paid for what we do. And a lot of times professionals, they don't know how much more a better tool can be and how much this can improve you as a dog trainer to have a better tool. And I blow glass. And that's the other thing too, is like when I started blowing glass and working with these tools, what's that?
Grass?
No, I do that too, but but I'm not talking about that right now. That's a whole other show. Yeah, when I'm blowing glass, the tools really, really make the difference in your learning and in your creative experience. And if you have all this energetic residue remaining, is it making contact? Am I communicating? Is it, and I've actually worked with callers and I've been like, I don't know if it's making contact. Call the dog back and then taking it off, putting it off, but once we can alleviate that, man, it just allows us to focus more on what is important, and that's the actual communication and relationship building. Trust building, trust exercises that we do with these dogs, and that's it. Patrick Lockett just says after gold, 5 years to learn the system.
Oh yeah.
You're on your way, Patrick.
Yeah. Well, and we want these people that have been 150 graduates of the gold program. These are the ambassadors out there that have been through. They have been blessed, with going through it and learning, and not only that, but being stressed. Is it stressful at all going through that program?
I don't know. Ask Patrick or Valerie.
Yeah, Valerie, is it stressful at all? And that's a lot of times when learning stuff is they don't realize that stress could be it's just part of that process. And if the more that we can help alleviate that stress and give a clear message, That's the goal here. Andy says, "I'm here." Welcome, Andy. It's great to have you, buddy.
I thought you were asleep.
Yeah. Where's
Worms?
Yeah, it's a little early here. I'm a geek. Loved it. I loved it. So that's what Valerie says about the gold course, is that she loved it. And you know, I encourage as many people. I'm planning on taking the courses with you guys. And Andy says stress.
I
You know?
You smell his stress?
I did smell the stress from him.
Then you introduced the
I smell stress from people, I tell you that.
Well, that's why it makes you a good dog trainer, you know, so do they.
By the way, I did smell it when my dogs were not 100%. You smell it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, strongest sense tied to memory is olfactory sense, even with human beings, you know, and I can smell a old cigar or a gasoline engine and boom, right, transported right back to as a kid with my grandfather, right? And if that can do that to me, transport me back to as I was a child, and I only have 5 million scent cells, where these dogs have 120 million, all the way up to 100 or 220 million scent cells. I can't even imagine how they view this world, and it's absolutely fascinating. She says, Valerie says, I think the stress part was only at the first of the gold class when my dog wouldn't work for food. Bart and Mike, but we made it work. Bart and Michael are good teachers. They made it work, and I trusted them.
I remember that Valerie lately did send an email to us to tell us that her dog did gain 12 pounds.
7 pounds.
7 pounds, which is
Significant.
Yes.
Yeah.
By training in the system, because dogs that learn to work for money, in this case existential food, becomes to
addicted.
like to eat more and more, and before you know, they could be addicted. Yeah.
We had this discussion with Bernard.
He would be a good dog.
I must be already in the system.
Well, you know, and I often tell people, just like when we work with dogs, especially when we're rehabbing dogs out of really rough behavior or situations, that the dog learns to trust me, right? And then the dog learns to trust the situations I put them in. And then eventually the dog learns to trust themselves. And it works with our learning too, is that we learn to trust Michael and Bart because we've seen the dogs that they've created, and also the testimonies of social proof from other people. And then we learn to trust the situations that they put us in with our dogs. And then eventually we learn to trust ourselves in the real world as a professional. And so it's the same thing that we're doing with these dogs that we do with ourselves. It's just that learning experience and knowing that repetition is the mother of learning, you know, regardless. And how stressed out you get, we just keep it up, keep our eye on the big prize, until we start to realize that stress is starting to dissipate, and we're starting to get a better understanding and more confident and more versed. Andy says, Michael stressed me out and I love her for it. So, so yeah. And then this is about the 9 pounds. She has learned to work ambitiously for food. Yeah. And I call food dog money, you know, and it just depends on what those dogs like. She wouldn't work for bacon, but she loves kibble from the treat and train. Go figure. That treat and train is something else. I love that treat and train.
Oh yeah. What people must understand is that in the school, Michael and I try to tell the actual training systems that are on market. And then we add to that the Naples system, which is a combination from things that already exist. And Naples is a training system where you can always make the dog do with heart and soul. Making a dog always do, that's easy. But making them do with heart and soul, for example, today I saw a little video on Facebook again from, and I will not names, from a dog that is pointing a scent. And the dog is with his nose on the wall, with his muzzle totally open. And of course, he's on scent, but he's not really smelling because his muzzle is open. He's faking it. And these are things that over the years, we did understand that if a dog is really sniffing, and you see the good videos, there you see the muzzle. If I go to a toilet and I don't want to smell from the thing that the guy before me left there, I do. That's what dogs do. I mean,
yeah, it's a little bit like even if your dog is really exhausted from you working your dog, they're very tired, they're hot, they're panting. You take them for a walk, they hear something, and sometimes dogs hear with their nose, but
Yes.
they hear something, so they close their mouth and they smell. Where is it coming from?
Oh yeah.
They sent it. Yeah.
And then after they're like, oh, it was nothing, and then
So
Yeah.
to go back to the school, it means that we learn people the classic systems, which is positive reinforcement, which is a very strong system.
Yes.
If in positive reinforcement, you can use the correction tools of positive reinforcement, which is not giving the existential food. And now we have a very powerful system. The problem is modern people cannot do that. And that's the success of the negative reinforcement tools.
right,
What can I tell you?
that you can.
Yeah.
People cannot not give food to a dog for
Right.
one day. People cannot not give love to the dog for one day. They
Yeah.
cannot.
Or,
So-
or more than not love for maybe a week or something.
I mean, there is no consequences. And there is only consequences for doing, but even there, it's Coca-Cola, zero consequences. It's not powerful what they do. And what we try to tell people is the gasoline must be strong as the reward, and not giving that strong gasoline must be strong as a correction. Withholding is a very powerful tool. And that's what we tell the whole day. And the second day, it's negative reinforcement. It's nothing new. It's a communication tool. And what we do see worldwide is people do nice training for 2-3 years with their dogs, positively. And then one day,
Their dog is very
The dog-
motivated.
yeah, or whatever, they have no correction possibilities. And then they go to a little stick or to a pinch collar. And then they speak a language that the dog did not learn to understand.
Mhm.
And then they correct them in a language that the dog does not understand. And then the dog is in what we call the submission mode.
It's not taken as a correction
It's-
because a
it's-
correction brings them into behavior.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean,
Well, that shuts them down.
It's
I mean,
just-
yeah. and
it's
makes
for
them
most dogs.
aversive from the whole situation.
Yes.
It's like
Yeah.
some people, well, I'm going to now reinforce my command, sit. And they push so hard that the dog runs away. That's
Yeah.
not a reinforcer. It's an aversive stim to never sit again.
Mm.
I mean,
Right.
it's so easy at the end, but people make rocket science out of it. I mean,
Well, I
we
think
are-
that it's oops, as I get a phone call here from my little box, that it's these things right here, and not only that, but they see the dog shutting down and then they ramp it up. And I'm like, no, this dog is an overwhelm. You need to pay attention to the threshold that you have just blown past and watch this dog and pay attention to the feedback mechanism that is at the end of your leash here. And to see, that motivation and that's our obligation as trainers, is to communicate this stuff in a way that the dogs are going to benefit from it, and to move in a way that the dogs are going to understand the concepts that are being introduced. And Valerie says it, trust is key to everything. I mean, that's it, if we can boil it down. Hans Verbruggen. Hello, I like very much the explanation of the theory in combination with using how an e-collar works and dog training behavior. Nice school, Gertz Hans. So, greetings, Hans. And just so everybody knows, I put up the graphic down in the comments below for the NAPOPO Silver School coming up in November here in Missouri. And if they want to find out more information about that, did I just send you a message, Bart or Michael?
Send an email, please.
I forwarded to Michael. I mean,
What's the email address that you would like them to send it to? I'll put it down in the comments.
Info@bartballon.com. Info@bartballon.com.
Info@bartballon.com. I'll put that right now. And then if there's any other questions or anything that you guys have, please ask them, because we're running towards the end of our hour and a half now.
God, you have to-
No.
Yeah.
You want to?
Well, and I
So-
know that. Let me double check my notes here to make sure that we. So the thing is too. So married and divorced, or the being able to do that, not just being averse with how these things work, but also the technical features that you can do to help your clients, and that includes, if they get another transmitter, to be able to marry, divorce. And then Bart is starting to do some videos, really quick videos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yes.
It will come. Now, what people must understand is we here have what we call growing pains in the company, and our focus was to make production on level so that we could sell what people are requesting. We have now, after 1 year and a few months, set up production lines that are smooth, so that's in good hands. Now we can concentrate again on what we call the advertising and the pedagogical things, which will come. And we will have time for that now. So we are at the level of everything is running smoothly here. So now we have time for doing that social media terrorism advertising system.
Bart's the best.
Gorilla. We need some gorillas out there. We need to recruit ambassadors that understand the value of this product and the importance of its use in the industry to help countless dogs out there.
Well, the thing is that it's not new us speaking about Martin System, because long before we owned Martin System, we only used Martin System. We told everybody about Martin System. And that's a fact. If there's anybody watching who was at seminars 10, 15 years ago,
yeah,
you can verify it right now. But that's the thing, is we only say what we believe. And we believe we're the best. And now we need to keep working hard to keep providing innovative, because that's what we want. We want to be the best. We want to be unique. We want to be animal friendly. We want to have the whole sphere, meaning the training, the e-collars, the patents for animal welfare, customer service, quality suppliers. Everything must be professional, and we want everything done excellently.
Yeah.
Okay.
And walk with excellence is very challenging, and not only that, but it requires the people with the utmost integrity, and with the results that you guys are looking for too. And I don't believe that this is the best product. I know without a doubt it is. And that's why, I'm crazy about it. I got another caller out there, and this is something that I'm going to be implementing into my training program. And at a price point of around $650 here in America, I mean, it just makes sense.
For a whole set, yes.
And that's for the whole set. Yeah, that's you're hitting the ground running for $650 with the finger kick, with the transmitter. And I actually would say, spend another $30, get the feathers,
Right.
As well. And that's it. And I think that us as professionals, we need to communicate with each other more, and maybe have a group that we can set up with Martin Systems for professionals, or for NAPOPO graduates, where we can start networking and helping each other out. So I think that's it. We have much more success with cooperation than we do with competition.
Yes. Well, one thing I wanted to add before we stop is that we were lucky enough that when we took over the company, Charles Martin surrounded himself with very intelligent and hardworking people. And so we inherited a very loyal, fantastic team with integrity, and we're
Well,
we really hit the jackpot.
So
And the same way, the chance of the company is that it's all the time owned by dog trainers, owned by user of dogs. Like Charles Martin was hunter. Near it's Bart and Michael is really the best dog trainers on the world, and they know what they need as a product.
Absolutely. Well, and that's it. And that's where even when we go and I've done interviews with other e-collar and they're engineers. Like, what happens when we give you a dog, Bernard?
Yeah, I will.
he would try to eat him.
Yes, he does find out. He's getting out his fork and knife right now.
No, Nepopo will change your dog training life. Highly recommended. And then, we have one more question here. Let's go ahead and ask this. Now, this isn't a dog trainer. Hanumana says, I am not a dog trainer. I'd like to see a video on a proper fitting of the Chameleon 2 or 3. I use an e-collar's technology collar and understand the proper procedure to use. My dog and I were trained by a dedicated professional dog trainer. Yeah, I mean, you're going to be surprised, Hanu, about the fitting and how loose it is. And, especially when we were used to those e-collar technology collars, and I'm a big friend of the owner of that company as well. But I'm a dog trainer for first and foremost, and I'm an ambassador for these animals. And anytime that I see something that is better for that animal, it's no question I'm going towards that. I'll post up a video if I can find it too of the fitting when they do it in the comments down below.
Okay.
We'll do it.
Prem says, thank you so much, Bill, Bart, Bernard, and Michael for this live conference about dog training and collar. Bart, you always motivate me with your thoughts. Regards. Me too, man.
Dirty thoughts, huh?
Dirty thoughts. Yeah, you don't even know. We need to do
what are we doing under the table with our hands?
Yeah, or behind my head here. Like he sees my head here. Let's see. We can pull my head away. There we go. It's good. So thank you very much, you guys. This has been very informative. Is there anything else that we didn't touch on that you guys want to mention? Can you think of?
First of all, the school, we will be there, and probably one of us will go to the IACP this year again.
Okay,
and we
that's
hope that the IACP booths will be in a more comfortable place to be able to hit the public better.
So the IACP is the International Association of Canine Professionals, and canineprofessionals.com. I'm going to post up a comment down below where you can link to that. And if you're a dog training professional, I definitely recommend checking out their conference. It's going to be in Colorado Springs in September. And I'm going to be there as well. And this is where you can actually, meet Bart in person, give him a big hug. And Michael, I wish you were coming too, but I think that you have some guests coming in town. Your folks are going to come see us. So if we can,
that's where we are visit. That's a problem. So we'll see how we can make it together.
I hope you can. I want to meet you in person. I've already met Bart, and I don't think Bernard's coming. I wish Bernard was coming too.
Well, if you open a beer bottle, he flies in.
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
He says, Mike Lynch says, great talk. Thanks all. So you guys, if you want to hold on for 1 second, I will say goodbye to you in the studio there, but let's go ahead and end this broadcast now. Thank you so much, you guys, for your time.
Thanks.
Well, and thank you for producing a extremely awesome product that's going to allow countless people to communicate better with their loved ones, their best friends, their dogs.
Thanks,
you.
Bill.
Thank you.
All right, you guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
And